We need a word for this human Tinder emotion of elation. Yo, welcome to my Summer Lair. I'm your pop culture pal and host, Sammy Younan, and I hope you're feeling what I'm feeling, because there is this feeling of joy. We need a legit word for it. When somebody says to you, I'm looking for a new Netflix show, you got any recommendations? Or they innocently tell you, I just finished a new Stephen King novel, I'm looking for a new book, what are you reading? And there's this amazing moment where you share with the openness and confidence of a dandruff commercial, a TV show, or recommend a podcast or a novel that's so good it defies description. And the person, your friend, somebody you love out of 7 billion people takes you up on that suggestion. They trust you and they read it or watch it or listen to it, and they come back and they tell you that indeed it truly was amazing. You just made their lives better, like a dating service. You connected them to an amazing TV show or book or comic book. What a rare and incredible gift. That's what I mean when we need a word for that yes emotion, because it not only benefits the recipient, but me as a person doing recommending as a curator. I get that runner's high. Plus, more importantly, it benefits the creators of the work. Now, somebody else knows that writer's name or has watched their show. To share the pop culture we enjoy is an act of love and an act of service. It is a holy transaction, and those with open hearts and open minds and open ears will be blessed. Which is why I can testify that my guest, Whitney Matheson, is a wonderful curator. She's one of the best. Because we need a word for that no emotion when a TV show season has concluded. Now what? Or that heavy silence when you get to the end of a satisfying novel. Now what? Whitney is outstanding at answering that now what. She is the cure for life's rich pageant. She recently released Pandemix, a comic book anthology she co-edited, even supplying a short story called Pandemic Boyfriends. How romantic. In this compelling conversation, she and I cover creativity, comics, and candy. Oh, and of course, curation. Here now, this is what two shiny, happy people sound like.
Sammy, how are you?
I'm good. Are you feeling much better?
Yeah, I'm feeling better. You know, I'm trying to just stay healthy and stay busy.
Okay, that's a good philosophy. That should be on a t-shirt.
Yeah, and get some sleep occasionally.
Oh, come on now. I thought you were like all rock and roll and going out at middle of the night and stuff. I know you have a kid, but still, you should be...
Well, I am rock and roll, but there's nowhere to go.
I know.
So I can't. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? But yeah. Oh man, it's tough, but it could always be worse. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm the same way as you. I'm restless. Like the first March and April or whatever, we're like, okay, this is fine. It's something new. We can even slow down a little bit. And I think in general, a lot more people were kinder and nicer because they were getting the 8 hours of sleep and they didn't have to rush to karate practice to pick up the kid or drop the kid off at soccer practice. You know what I mean? I think everyone kind of got to slow down. And then by about May, June, I was like, all right, this is like summer vacation basically. I was like, all right, I'm done now. I want to go to movies or go do something now or road trip or something. But it's it really is like a summer vacation with no end in sight. Usually you know when the first day of school is, so you count the days basically. Right now it's just you're going on summer vacation. I'm like, all right, great. When's the first day of school? Well, we're not sure. I'm like, okay. So you just kind of sit there and you're like,
oh my gosh, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I'm making it. I'm working too, which is real. I'm just glad to be working because I know a lot of people who aren't. So
yeah, that's true too.
So yeah, everybody's dealing with it in their own way. But I welcome a distraction. I desperately need a distraction, I think.
All right, so we'll get the distraction rolling. And I actually want to start off with something a little awkward, and then we will I just want to bring it up briefly, and then we're gonna move on to like all your stuff. But about a week ago or so, I'm losing track of time. I was visiting some friends, and they have a toddler, a small child, and she was painting. And as she was painting, she knocked over some of the paint. I mentioned she's a toddler, so she got some of it on her elbow, and she just kind of kept going, and she didn't realize she could paint with her elbow, basically. And so she started mashing it down, and I was like, because you're supposed to like encourage children, so I gave her a thumbs up. And then like the next day or the day after, you posted on Instagram a boob painting, like an actual painting that you made with your boobs. So I was like, I guess nobody uses a paintbrush anymore now to like make stuff. Is this the new trend now, or like there's a reason why I'm bringing this up, because I know it's super awkward, but can you just explain the boob painting just a little bit?
Oh, yeah, that was, and first of all, that's not something that I would ever normally do, or if I would do it, I would never share that. But
Yes.
What happened, I'm not like that much of an exhibitionist at all, but yeah, so there was this artist that I loved. Her name was Bridget Berlin. She was one of the last living Warhol superstars. There aren't too many of them still around.
Mm-hmm.
And she died, I guess, 2 weeks ago now, because that was last week when I posted those paintings. But yeah, she was really close with Andy Warhol. She was in several of his films. She lived at the Chelsea Hotel for a while. She was in the movie Chelsea Girls. But also she was a great artist in her own right and often overlooked, I think. And one thing that she did is she made these prints of her breasts that were pretty beautiful, but at the same time, like badass.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, I just thought I was so bummed and there's a fantastic documentary about Bridget called Pie in the Sky that tells you a little bit more about her. But I was so bummed out when I heard that she had passed away, and I thought, well, how can I pay tribute to her? And that was what I came up with. I was like, only for this artist, like this is the only time when I would do something like that. But yeah, so one day I got my kids washable paint, and I did it. I made some prints, and I gotta say, it took me a little bit, but what came out, I'm quite pleased with what came out. And also during this time, I really have tried to do at least one creative thing, if not more,
Mm-hmm.
every day. I don't know how I would make it if I didn't. If I was just doing all this stupid minutia and routine stuff and without doing any creative work, I would go crazy. And so that was another reason I did it.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why I brought it up. Because partly it was just funny because, like I said, like the toddler was like mashing with the elbow, and then you're using nobody's using a brush anymore, is basically, which I found funny. But as part of your online presence, you have been kind of encouraging people to make stuff, to put googly eyes on lamps and to record silence. Take boring photos is another one. Like, how are you describing it? Like, is it a folk art? You mentioned Andy Warhol. Like, do you see it as like a pop art kind of thing, or do you just call it play and creativity, as you were just saying? You're kind of like a Bob Ross without an afro, basically.
I like that. I mean, I don't know. I guess. I mean, mainly, yes. I want to encourage other people to be creating things and just get across the point that it doesn't have to take you, like most of those things I post, it doesn't have to take you a long time. Like some of those things are only like 2 minutes. You can do it. You can like draw a quick drawing with your other hand, or like you can do all sorts of stuff. So I want to encourage other people, but I do think that more than anything that I just did it for myself as something to force myself into making stuff and putting it out there, and because that's part of it for me. Like I can write and I can write in journals and stuff from under my bed, but it's kind of point, like the whole meaning of making something, I think, is sharing it with other people. So yeah, I mean, some of those things I posted, I do for myself all the time. I have a ton of dumb drawings and whatever, but ultimately it's important to like share stuff And also, I'm just tired of looking at people's like bread that they're baking and their, selfies and all that. So there's so much more interesting things you can do with social media than just taking silly pictures of yourself, which I do too. But do it to show something you're making.
This is what I find fascinating, because your work lately it flows in three streams, right? We touched upon the creativity with like these cool little art projects. So it's creativity, comics, and curation. Those seem to be the three areas where you're kind of working in lately. We can switch gears now and talk about comics, because you make these really cool, I guess, American Splendor type biography comics. Like you'll have like a relationship with your daughter. You wrote a little bit about your anxiety and your journey over the last few years.
Yeah.
I guess to quote Seinfeld, like, what's the deal with your comics?
Well, yes. I should say, like, the way I do not draw. I have zero clearly formal drawing, instruction but all my drawings are very simple. But I love comics. As you know, I've written a lot about comics.
Mm-hmm.
I also, maybe a year ago, I live in Brooklyn. I needed a workspace, and I started working in a studio in Brooklyn with about a dozen other cartoonists. And so that was pretty influential on me as well, because I was even though I'm a writer and I was going in and writing things, I was going to a space where everybody was making comics. And so, I guess I just eventually, after being surrounded by it for so much, I decided to do some of it myself and liked it. It's just a different way of expression for me. And sometimes it's easier to express certain things, in that way than just to write 1,000 words about it. But I love comics, and I've discovered that sometimes I like to make them. And now I have this, and this project that just came out was really cool too, because I was able to not only contribute to this anthology of comics, but kind of, help usher in this project where a bunch of great artists were making new things.
Yeah, you're talking about Pandemix, quarantine comics in the Age of Rona. You contributed my pandemic boyfriends to the project.
So silly.
Yeah. So, but it's good because like that example again, like it kind of underscores that this isn't just like a fearful reaction to the virus or anything like this. It's like different kind of, it's an anthology. So there's different perspective and different experiences all kind of written about in the graphic novel. So can you kind of explain a little bit or who some of the creators are for the book?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's 56 pages. I think we have 15 comics by 19 different artists and writers, and we just I mean Dean Haspiel, who's one of my favorite cartoonists and writers, and he kind of curated this project, and we co-edited it together. But it's all of the comics were created during this crazy time.
Mm-hmm.
So since during the time of quarantine, and several of them we work with in the same studio, but it's a pretty diverse mix of people, and a lot of them also have lost work during this, as many people in every field have lost work. But I love it because everybody does have a very specific voice and a very unique style. It's mostly very personal work, intensely personal work, and it's a snapshot of a time. I mean, we couldn't have done this same project at any other time. If we did it a year from now, people's perspectives are all going to be different. So some of it's very raw. But then, like, just to call out a few of the comics, Josh Neufeld, who's another one of my favorite. He's a comics journalist, and he does a great piece just about what it's like he interviews someone and what it was like to kind of work with the hospitals at this time. And then you have Marguerite Dubai, who does like a great comic just about her experience and how, she got sick during all this. And like Ellen Lindener is in it. And it's honestly, when I say the names, I can't believe it because these are people I have written about and whose work I have really liked for so long. And so to be like involved in a project with all of them and to have like anything like in the same anthology with them it's kind of mind blowing.
And the proceeds, it goes to a really cool organization, the Hero Initiative.
Yeah, so it's a charity project, and we decided that we would like for the money, and it's only $5. Like it's it's $5. It's a digital anthology, and you get it on Patreon. So it's at patreon.com/pandemix with an X at the end. And yeah, it's a charity thing that goes to the Hero Initiative, which is an organization that provides essential money for like essential medical aid or cartoonists and creators who may be, having some really tough times. A lot of them may be older, not working anymore, and they may need help for, medical treatment or essential financial help. So yeah, goes to a great cause. And I'm excited about it. I'm happy that people can see it. There's nothing else really like this out there.
Yeah, because you mentioned like this period of time is unusual, and when you're creative and these weird things happen, you don't quite know how to work or what to do. Like I was thinking, like when this project was announced, that like it reminded me of 9/11 when 9/11 was happening, not just the day, but like into September and October. I was thinking like, oh man, like I know putting insensitivity aside for a moment, but I was just thinking that, oh man, like this is going to produce a great Bruce Springsteen album, like, 'cause that this moment is like, it's significant. And it's like people like Bruce Springsteen were going to respond to it. And sure enough, he put out The Rising and it was a good album. And we've seen like how like Phil Collins, for example, has like when he's gone through divorces, those are horrible experiences, but they produce great albums. And it's that classic thing of like, do you have to be sad to write a sad song?
Yeah. And, in the introduction to this, Dean writes about how right after 9/11, a publisher approached him about making something, making a comic that somehow deals with 9/11. And he writes, he thought he was crazy, but now looking back, he's so glad he did it. It absolutely captures like the feeling he had in the moment in time. And I think that's what we were trying to do with this. And understandably, there were some artists we approached who just, not everybody's dealing with this in their own way. And there were some artists who just aren't able to make work right now, or, they were still kind of processing what was going on. And so, the only way, like I said, the only way I've been able to get through this is by making things and writing things. And I have produced more, I would say, in the last, 4 months than I have in the last couple of years, just in terms of the volume of writing and stuff I'm making. And that's not true. And other people like just kind of need to take a moment away from it, and all, it's all fine. It is all, everybody's processing it differently.
There's a legitimate anger, I guess that's the word to use, a legitimate anger from creatives that we really haven't fully acknowledged. Because, and again, I know like this is kind of, it sounds insensitive when I say it out loud, but a lot of creatives had momentum going into March and April and May. There was movies coming out and books and albums, and plays, all kinds of like South by Southwest. There was all kinds of things that were happening that people were gearing up to do. And then it all just kind of got disrupted or canceled or pushed back for a year, like all kinds of things like that. And so in a weird way, like, yeah, you can do a lot of creative stuff now because you have this like period where, like you said, everything kind of shut down. There's nowhere to go. But at the same time, too, there is a lot of anger from creatives as they're kind of grappling and dealing with this kind of unprecedented situation.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, I had written a play and I had a reading of it earlier this year, and I was excited, I was excited about the prospect of like doing more, like casting this play and moving forward with my first play. And now it's like, there are no plays for the foreseeable future. It's like theater is gone. And so, yeah, I mean, I was one of many, many people. It's just, who's very upset. And now I'm just trying to move forward and think, all right, well, maybe this is an opportunity to try something different. create things in different formats. And we've certainly seen that with musicians a lot who've been able, musicians who thrive particularly on touring, and now a lot of them are just trying to think creatively and doing Zoom shows or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's really tough, but on the plus side, it has forced a lot of people to just try to experiment with what they're doing and, how to make things work.
Was Pandemix and your own comics, were these kind of partly inspired by writing the book We Made Comics, which was a digital kids book?
Oh, yeah. I think that's just another part of my enthusiasm for comics. So I guess that came out in, time is so weird now, but that came out in 2019. Mm-hmm. I wrote
it's not that old.
a book. It's not that old. No. Yeah. It's called the book you can find on Epic, which is essentially the Netflix of kids books. A lot of parents know Epic because it's free in libraries and schools nationwide. And during the pandemic, it's been free. My daughter's been able to access it. Most kids can access it. It's a website and they have deals with most major publishers. You can go on and your kids can read tons and tons of books. So yeah, I did this book called We Make Comics for them, and I talked to lots of comic creators, people who make comics for children, and it's hopefully a helpful kind of how-to guide and it's so funny because a lot of it's been pretty popular for them. So that was just another way, I think, for me to write about comics and hopefully encourage younger people to do it for themselves. I don't know. I've always, I think because you know me since Pop Candy and all that,
mm-hmm.
My biggest passion, I think, is just trying to spotlight artists who need that help, who need, not necessarily mainstream artists who are fine. I don't need any sort of encouragement, but spotlight artists who are deserving of more attention, while at the same time encouraging people to make their own stuff.
Yeah, it's curation basically is what you're talking about, right? Because when Avengers or something that comes out, I enjoyed the Avengers movies, but they don't need any help. It doesn't really matter if you review them. It doesn't matter if you tweet out the trailer. The Avengers movies will be fine, and they will make billions of dollars, and everyone will go home happy. But it's those indie films and comics that you're talking about, all these smaller projects that kind of fall through the cracks. There's a ton of stuff on Netflix, and yeah, everyone's all excited to watch Stranger Things, and that's fun and things like that. But there's so much other stuff out there, and you need somebody who's like a lighthouse, just kind of pointing them out. And I mean, that's what you were saying with Pop Candy. I guess we can switch to that now. Because we've covered creativity in comics, so we can start with curation and candy. So just for anyone who doesn't know, what was Pop Candy? And I sadly have to use past tense.
Yeah, it's past tense. It's all right. So Pop Candy was the blog that I created and wrote for 15 years at USA Today. It was one of the first, if not the first, blogs on a major news website. I covered pop culture, but my aesthetic is pretty, it's a little bit stuff that other people might overlook. It's a little bit indie. It's a little bit retro. It's not necessarily mainstream entertainment. So, yeah, that's what I did, and I was there from 99 to 2014.
Which is a lifetime in that kind of medium.
Yeah, it's a pretty long, that's a good run. So mm-hmm. I cannot complain.
Mm-hmm. It's been a few years now since it got shut down. When you look back at it, do you know why it was successful? You had meetups in a number of cities, you had fans and readerships. There was a lot of people and a lot of cool creators as well who were actively reading your stuff, submitting stuff. Do you have any idea? You mentioned your aesthetic. Is that why you feel it was so successful and connected?
Well, I think maybe a few reasons. For one thing, I was fortunate to be on a pretty large platform, and I think that I wrote about things. I offered maybe I wrote about things, and that not a lot of other people were, and I did write everything with my voice. So I think like those things are attractive. Also, my philosophy has always been to be positive about everything. To not like I don't like to waste my time shooting down something that I don't like when I could be praising something or recommending something that I love. And so I think, 15 years is a long time, but that did coincide with a lot of, other websites that kind of didn't go in that direction, that may have did very well, but may have like focused on kind of snarkiness and negativity and going after kind of the same big mainstream easy targets. And that's just that wasn't my philosophy. And so, and I think as a result of that, I definitely, I love, not only did I love what I did and what I wrote about, I loved the people who found it and supported it. And I found that by large, like most of them were very positive people.
Mm-hmm.
And, like if you put that out there, you're going to get it back. And so, yeah, I think part of it, maybe the content, maybe the voice, maybe whatever, the frequency, because I wrote like 10 times a day. But also, I really do think like that tone it works for me for sure. And I can't imagine. I mean, I can write. It's fun to go negative sometimes, I guess, but I prefer the other way.
But you also, I don't know how to phrase it. I guess you hide in plain sight. You also don't reveal a lot. Like you have a secret identity or something. Like there isn't a lot of biography either. Like when you read your newsletters lately, am I accurate? Or like, you know what I mean? You kind of operate in the shadows like Batman. You get the job done and you're really cool about it. But then you're just kind of like gone in the middle of the night before I finish my sentence, like Commissioner Gordon or something. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel. Is that accurate or how would you describe it?
Oh, wait, what do you mean? You mean like I'm not totally, well, no, tell me more. You mean like I don't talk too much about myself or?
Yeah,
what?
like you kind of, you're really excited about like some REM box set or this film that's coming out or some comic book or something like this. And you clearly are passionate about it, but it's like, especially now with your newsletter now, because obviously you haven't done Pop Candy for a little while, but with your newsletter, it's like the thing that you're recommending is far more important than you are, if that makes sense. And so you don't always get a lot of like biography or like who you are in a sense. Like, so your voice is used to kind of put the emphasis on the thing that you're recommending and the thing that you're suggesting rather than on who you are.
Yeah, although, my photos in there every week and stuff. And I mean, I guess, well, one thing that I have kept since the beginning, and this is not what anybody does now, but since the beginning of my career, like late 90s, there are certain things about my life that I do keep private. And I don't, I don't put my daughter's photo on the internet. I don't really talk about my personal, like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Yeah, I definitely think that it is healthier to not share everything. For my sanity anyway. But at the same time, like I think it's important to be very honest. So there, I'm very honest about my life and I'll talk about whatever, but yeah, I it's not totally about me. But then I believe that when it comes to entertainment and culture as well, is I am always way more interested about the work than I am about the artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing. That's the important thing is the work. Like focus on the work. I hate gossip stuff. I don't care who's dating whom or like any of that stuff. I really just care about the work. So yeah, I mean, I guess I do that in my writing as well. Is like I remember, I think I have a pretty distinct voice. Like I write in a personal way, but I still want to be useful. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to still focus on the work.
It makes sense because like, for example, Prince and Bowie are gone. So we're relatively not going to get new albums. I'm sure they'll discover some stuff along the way. I know Prince had a vault, but for the most part, they're gone. So you just get like whatever you have is what you have. That's it. Like, so regardless of whether like Prince was a terrible husband or all these other things, whatever, those are issues that his family and things have to work out. For the rest of us, we just get the albums and that's it. Like, that's all you have left now. Like, all you get left is the work.
Yeah. Yeah. That's for sure what I'm the most interested in. I mean, sometimes, like, you know, if you're looking at the work, like it's informative to know something about a person, but yeah, I'm not really a gossipy kind of person at all.
Yeah, that makes sense. So then how are you avoiding the sweatshop burnout then, right? Like, Pop Candy, you mentioned, I think you had to update it like several times a day. I think you just said 10. Now as a freelancer, you're kind of having to feed the internet between newsletters and comics. Don't you ever like get burnt out, or just trying to always like shovel coal into the fire basically?
Oh, well, now it's crazy because of circumstances, no childcare, like all that stuff. It is crazy, but I'm not as burnout as I was when I was doing a blog at all, because that was ultimate burnout. And at some point, you know, if there hadn't been mass layoffs and changes, I don't honestly, no, I don't think I could have stayed in that industry, because it does wear you out, and it's and especially if you are a mother. I think my daughter was like maybe a year old, I guess, when I lost my job. But yeah, that was extremely exhausting. But now I'm just exhausted in a different sort of way. And, you know, all the newsletters and the comics, and, you know, certainly like none of us who worked on the Pandemix, the comics anthology, made any money. You know, it's a charity project. We're not doing it for any money. All that stuff is not how I make my money. I should be clear, like, I am a freelancer. And so most of the work, the paid work that I have, that I do work on all the time and hustle for and whatever, most people aren't aware of that, because it's not, a lot of it isn't bylined work. It may be consulting. I consult for a number of organizations and, you know, networks and creators and things. And so, of course, I'm not talking about that. I have a lot of my paid work is like involved, you know, it's not stuff that I can really talk about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So all of the other stuff, the newsletters and all that, that's for my own sanity, really. I mean,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Coming out of a traditional media like USA Today, can you compare these modern platforms? Like we mentioned the newsletter, you use MailChimp for that, Patreon, like you have your phone number, people can call you. When you were like the journalist in residence at Middle Tennessee State University, like how did you kind of balance like that traditional media and like the journalistic requirements, I guess, for lack of a better term, versus like this newfangled technology?
Oh, well, even when I was at USA Today, I was trying different things. When after I left USA Today, just quick, which you mentioned. So I was in New York. I moved away from New York, moved to Tennessee, which is, I love Tennessee. And yeah, I was the journalist in residence at a university, which is outside of Nashville. And, yeah, I mean, that was a big transition for me, because I taught and I had never really taught before. That was a completely different gig, and I loved it because of that, because it was, you know, the pace, everything about it was so different from what I was used to. You know, I was still writing and freelancing, but I was teaching on top of it. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what exactly your question was, but
oh no,
but tell me.
Because, yeah, that's fair, because there's a lot there. But I was like, you're one of the few people who work for USA Today. You work for traditional media, and now you've left that, and now you're using like the new stuff, the shiny toys, right? So MailChimp for your newsletter, Patreon. And I just wanted to know like how do you view the experience between those two? Because obviously there's a journalistic standard when you write for USA Today or New York Times or other outlets like that, versus now with, like you were saying before, you could do snark and you can do other things like that. you have a lot more freedom with these other outlets and other platforms. So I just wanted to kind of see what your experience
Yeah.
was like between the two platforms, because you're one of the few people that can speak on them, right? Because like, you know what I mean? You were working in USA Today, you said like before 2000, right? So just as the internet was kind of like
Yeah.
taking off and like, I don't know what this like, you know, what this new thing is. And newspapers didn't know how to react to online media.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I still do, I still freelance for several publications and I work in so many worlds. So many worlds. I work in, that world. I work in the corporate world sometime. I work in like streaming media. So yeah, I do have like a toe in kind of everything in terms of just like, MailChimp and Patreon and all that stuff. I mean, I do love those things because of the independence, because, I don't really have to answer to anybody when I do that sort of thing. And so that also gives me I was lucky at USA Today. I was able to experiment in a great way. I was there at a very good time when I could do that. But yeah, that's one thing I love about, all the other, like the Patreon and all, like, I mean, I don't have to answer to anybody at all, really. Like I could put up like a 5,000 word short story that nobody's asking for, but I could do it, and I can put up comics and the independence is great. Of course, you've got to work. Most of us, if you want that sort of independence, you've got to work like 20 times as hard as if you were like, on staff at a company. But yeah, I have a balance of it right now, and I like that because I also love collaborating and working with other people and learning from editors and that too.
Is that freedom and the independence you're talking about? Is that what also partly prompted the B. Arthur comic book?
Oh my gosh, you saw that. Yeah, that was just like, I love B. Arthur, and I was just starting to feel a little more confident in my ability to make, independent comics, I guess. So yeah, why not?
Why not? Do you like B. Arthur more than Betty White?
I do, I think. I mean, yeah, my love is true for all the Golden Girls, but I mean, B. Arthur, you can't get better than B. Arthur, I don't think.
Okay. Because, I mean, I don't know where else we can go from there. That's pretty positive. That's the positivity that you're talking about. I mean, like, shout out to B. Arthur. So, yeah, the comic book anthology is Pandemix, Quarantine Comics in the Age of Rona. And where can people find you online to talk about B. Arthur or find out more information about Pandemix?
Well, people should go to Patreon, I think. At Patreon, I have my own account, patreon.com/Whitney Matheson, and you can get links to sign up to my newsletter and see comics and all that stuff. You can also follow me on Instagram at the Whitney Matheson, where I post a lot of stuff. And then Pandemix, which is spelled Pandemix, that you can go to patreon.com/Pandemix. And for $5, you can get this 56-page anthology.
All right, there it is. Don't people yell at you all the time to like write a book, either like a novel or nonfiction?
I wish more people would. People would love to read it. I wish more, people in publishing would come to me. But yes, no, yes. I have some things that I'm working on. Yeah. What would you like to see? Okay, if I did a book, what do you want?
Yeah, I'd like 2 books if it's possible. I'd like a novel, because you have this weird, lovely mishmash of like 80s stuff and like kind of REM and Andy Warhol. And there's just got to be some like a high fidelity kind of story, something like that, set in a record shop or weird, quirky characters. And you're also in Brooklyn, New York, so you have a lot of characters. So some sort of novel, kind of mashing up all your interests with that. And then a nonfiction book, just, I don't know, either like similar to what you're doing with like the comic book with B. Arthur, or I don't know whatever else you'd feel comfortable like writing about. There's a lot of books on essays, for example. A lot of essay collections. I think that would be really good. You did that one book. You contributed a chapter for Moving Forward. I think it was with Moby and Shirley Manson. I can't remember who else was in it.
Oh yeah. Rainn Wilson. There are a lot of cool people in that book.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good to hear. And yes, I've had thoughts. I have some irons in the fire. So maybe, and just for Sammy, just for you, I'll write 2 books. I'll have them done in the next 6 months. I'll send them to you.
Oh, I was gonna give them to you. I was gonna give you 8 months, but if you want to do it in 6, I'm like,
oh, okay, yeah.
We go way back, so I can give you a couple extra months to like work on it. But yeah, no, that'd be perfect. I mean, like, it's actually been really interesting with the pandemic shutdown, because as frustrating as it is to like, I want to go to the movies and like you said, plays and things are like on hold for next little while. You can kind of catch up on a lot of stuff. And I've been revisiting things as well. I mentioned like your Pandemix co-editor and co-creator, Dean Haspiel.
Dean Haspiel,
He worked on Bored to Death, which was a show on HBO like many, many years ago. I think almost 10 years ago now. And I just kind of revisited that, and it's still like super sarcastic and super funny. And so like, yeah, it's kind of like, that is one silver lining where you kind of slow down a little bit and you kind of go back and revisit some of the things like that.
Yes, the Emmy-winning Dean Haspiel for his work on Bored to Death. He did the art for that show, and that show is fantastic. And yeah, you should read. I don't know if you've read his stuff, but he does like a comic that's free online. He has a Brooklyn superhero called The Red Hook. He's done a million things. He's great. And I still, when I talk about this, it blows me away, because I've been writing about Dean's work and a lot of the people in this anthology for so many years. So it just I'm like so happy about this project, and I'm also just happy to be making stuff right now.
Dean's work, his career kind of mirrors yours. It's all over the place. It's not like a traditional, like, he just worked for Marvel or DC and then kind of called it a day. Like, he's worked in, like, film, television, like, independent stuff. He's done some Marvel stuff, I think some Spider-Man, things like that. I think he's even worked on American Splendor. I mentioned that a little while ago, or contributed some stuff.
Absolutely.
So he's had a weird career. Like, it's not a traditional, I'm a comic book guy. What you think of when you say comic book guy? Oh, yeah, he's a fantastic career, and an amazing person. Also a playwright who was going to have a play open, I think March 19th in New York, and then everything shut down. So also very affected, like so many artists just affected by all this, but to his credit, just, then turned around and came up with the idea for this anthology and keeps working, keeps moving. All right, and we'll let you keep moving. So we covered a lot. We covered you like B. Arthur more than Betty White. I think that's going to be controversial when that hits. I love Betty White. What? I also love, who can say a negative word? Like, I don't want to rank. I'm not going to rank the Golden Girls, but there's something magical about B. Arthur. I was also a fan of Maude, which is, whatever. Yes. No hate, though, on Betty White. She's also amazing. All right. And still around, so I want this to get back to her. Yeah, that's true, too. She might actually listen to this. I don't know what podcast she listens to. Nobody really kind of talks to her about that stuff, so you never know. You put something on the internet, as you know, and it just goes. And we've talked about some of your work as well, in terms of putting making boring photos and all kinds of like creative work, which you hashtag with "Hey, I made this." So yes, "Hey, I made this." That's my hashtag. Yes. So there you go. We covered quite a bit. We covered B. Arthur. We covered comics. "Hey, I made this," and I think we did good. We did a good job, didn't we? And you got 2 books coming out apparently now, right? Within 6 months, you said. Yeah, just for you. Mm-hmm. You know what? I do have like a book coming out. Gosh, I don't know when it's coming out, but I did.
I do have a children's book that I wrote that's coming out in a few months about the Loch Ness Monster.
Ooh.
And I'm sure I have other projects that I'm forgetting because there's so many things. That there's one for you. Yeah.
Actually, before you go, can I ask you one more question?
Go for it.
Like, you've now written, this will be your second, the Loch Ness Monster book will be your second children's book after How to Make Comics. Like, has having a child altered your relationship with pop culture?
Oh, for sure. I mean, well, it just opened up, like, because a world of things that I wasn't aware of in terms of everything, books and TV shows and it's also fun to, when you have a kid, to revisit the stuff that you liked when you were younger, but sometimes disappointing when she's not as into it as I was. But certain things, like, we're both like, she's a Pee Wee Herman fan like me. Like, it's fun to like introduce her to stuff like that. And the Babysitters Club is like probably the most recent one because she loved those books and we watched the show. And yeah, so it's definitely, and oh my gosh, like now because she's had like online school and all this stuff. So now that she's discovered Google, and like she looked me up, and she was. I'm like, oh my God, I hope there's nothing that she can find that's controversial or going to bring up any questions. Because the day she figured out like she Googled me, she was like, oh my God, Mom, you're on Wikipedia. I was like, oh God, yeah. I don't know what it says there, but yeah.
So she's impressed that you made it to Wikipedia?
She did find that impressive. And of course I had nothing to do with that entry, but whoever made it, it's like the worst photo of me of all time on that Wikipedia page. But yeah, it's interesting. But I mean, it's fun. It's like just rediscovering and like finding more stuff. Of course, like a lot of stuff made for children is total crap. So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like you were saying, you're giving her stuff that you grew up with. Now there is a whole cottage industry. Like, we grew up with like maybe Mr. Rogers, Sesame Street. There was a handful of things kind of floating around. We just kind of jumped into the adult swimming pool, basically, right? We just started watching Star Wars and things like that. Your kid has like podcasts that they're specifically aimed for kids. There's a whole much more range of like children's books for different ages now. We just kind of had like Dr. Seuss and then like Judy Blume. There wasn't really a whole lot in the middle there between those. So it's kind of interesting to see how what she'll end up like kind of enjoying and rejecting, and kind of going back and forth between the stuff you like and the stuff she's discovering.
Oh, totally. But also she is very she doesn't like characters or like, so she is very anti Star Wars. She's very, and I'm trying to think of, there are a bunch of things that I like that she has zero interest in. And I'm cool with that because, I'm not going to push, even if she hates, whatever. I'm not going to, some parents definitely push certain things, pop culture or whatever, like onto their kids. And the fun is discovery. So I'm totally fine with her love of Taylor Swift and, like certain things. I don't expect her, and I would be disappointed if all the things she loved were things that I love too,
Didn't you recently tweet out, or not recently, but I remember I thought I saw a tweet that said that your daughter was cranking Blondie?
She loves Blondie. She loves, right now it's Prince.
Oh.
Whenever I played her, and I'm so proud, thank God. I think I played her when Doves Cry. No, it was Little Red Corvette. I played her Little Red Corvette. And for whatever reason, that clicked something in her. Mm-hmm. And so she became obsessed with, like, she's currently obsessed with Prince. And
good job, Mom.
Which is good, and it's good, but also it's like, on YouTube, like she was watching Prince videos. I was like, oh God, like this is gonna take me down. Like I am Mom of the Year. But yeah, but whatever. She came to me the other day and she was like, I think she had watched the video for Cream or something, like a Prince video, and she was like, Mom, all the girls in these videos wear bathing suits so they can dance better. And I'm like, yeah, that's totally why they're wearing bathing suits.
Oh, man. She must be impressed with Prince as well. He's got a longer Wikipedia entry than you.
Oh, I don't even know if she searched Prince on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
But yes, there have been. She's like making a little Prince doll, and it's adorable. It's great.
Okay. Well, so yeah, as I said, the Pandemix comic is out now, and it goes to the Hero Initiative. So it goes to support a good cause, and then hopefully you continue to kind of keep making comics, including the B. Arthur comic, and just kind of your folk pop art. As we said, you're like a Bob Ross without an afro, so that could probably go on your business card.
Well, thank you, and thank you for talking to me. This has been very nice.
Mm-hmm. What a dope lady. Though I'm not as good as Whitney, I'm often sharing and passing along comic books and music and books. There's so much goodness out there. Somebody somewhere is doing something fresh. Today, somebody is on page 1 of a project that will be incredible, and I cannot wait. I share what I find on Twitter, Facebook, and IG, all at My Pal Sammy. And because all the cool kids are doing it, nobody wants to be Richie Cunningham, even though he did star in a popular TV show. I have my own Substack newsletter called My Pal Sammy. Same thing as the Twitter, Facebook, and IG, all My Pal Sammy. Sign up for that because why not? Do you need more email in your life? No, you do not. You need more suggestions and sarcasm and seriously serious pop culture recommendations in your life? We all do. My Pal Sammy at Substack. Thank you so much for listening to me in the Netflix world. Comic book anthologies, yo.